Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coming In Hot with Caroline. Guess what today is? Coming in hotter with John. You guys, welcome. My first ever interview on Coming In Hot is John Baudino, my husband of 18 years. Has it been 18 years? Maybe it's
yes.
Okay. You can't keep track after a while. John, welcome to my show. Okay, we're going to start this off with John can seem very quiet and shy. And I used to be like, John, be fun, like act fun when we're out with friends. Cause I'd be like, I don't want them to think you're boring. Like, I don't want people to think like you're not you're fun. And John, cause he's so quiet and he doesn't like, it's more when he's comfortable. That's when you get John, right? That's when John.com comes out. So yeah, we'll touch that in a minute. John, we need you to be fun today, okay?
I will be fun.
Bring it on. Okay, you're coming in hot.
Coming in hotter.
So, John, let's start off with, what did you think when you first saw me?
Wowza. The first time I saw you, I'm like, that's it. She's it.
Did you really think that?
Yeah.
What was I wearing?
Jeans, white t-shirt.
Okay, I was not wearing a white t-shirt.
Okay, but a t-shirt.
John, I was wearing a black tank top, and you actually have reminded me of this every time, and now all of a sudden I'm in a white t-shirt? Like, who the fuck are you thinking about?
Yeah, you were very casual.
It was casual. Was my hair up or down?
Up.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
You won one brownie point on this.
And you were with a guy.
Hi, Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan, when he called me to say, you better not be with one of those fucking twins. That's who I was with. Ryan, we love you. He dragged me to the party. Lucky for you. Mm-hmm. Because you met the love of your life that night.
I did.
Okay, no, for real though. Before that, John, I think people don't realize you're identical twin. So
Yes.
I have two of them. Wowza. Okay, don't worry. The other one's married. Jim is amazing. And I met them the same night. We went to a party. John, why don't you tell the story? Because I love telling a story, but I feel like sometimes you have a different, I like to elaborate, which he will tell you.
Yes, we went to a party for a mutual friend and just celebrating her birthday at a club. It was a weekend. Typically didn't go out to the clubs on the weekend.
Yes, you did.
Not on the weekend. No, this was a very crazy crowd.
You were friends with the club promoter.
Yes.
And you were out at every party. I'm trying to recall
Not
when
every
you
party.
mean you didn't like parties
No.
and you were in gambling in Vegas.
And I did have a friend
what?
meeting me there. Yes.
Okay.
And so
Oh, who's the friend that was meeting you there?
Fortunately, I had my brother and his girlfriend there to entertain you and make sure that you were taken care of. And
Meanwhile, I was with a guy. He's meeting a girl there. I'm with the guy I'm dating. Meanwhile, the two of us are trying to figure out how to hang out legitimately, right?
Yeah,
Where you were kind of eyeballing me. I apparently in a drunken stupor said, when the girl showed up, I apparently, with the guy I'm dating, said out loud, I don't recall this. I said, oh yeah, we got to get rid of her.
yes.
I was with the guy I was dating. I don't know what happened to me, but apparently I knew I was going to be in control of the situation. Then what happened? Go ahead, John.
I stuck my brother's wife or girlfriend at the time onto you to meet up somehow so we could get together.
So you were stalking her. Yep.
She was stalking you, yes.
Yes.
To make it happen.
Right. So my now sister-in-law was stalking me. And it was actually hilarious because she kept trying to make plans and we would make plans and we kind of get, and what I couldn't stop laughing was I couldn't understand why she was trying so hard because I had just met her one night. And I'm like, I mean, you're cute and all, but like, I don't need another best friend. Like I was kind of like, wow, she's trying really hard to get together. And I was
I was on her. Like, you got to get this going. I'm like, she's the one.
Wait, but what made you think that? That's really fun. No, because truthfully, we joke around a lot on here, but you actually want to give some good advice. We want people to walk away, right? There's so many women out there that like, there's no good guys out there. It's so hard to meet somebody. And I guess the fact that it was a pumping nightclub, that doesn't really say a lot because I would have normally said that's not where you meet people. Apparently you do sometimes, but I think people do think that it's hard. What was it about it for you? Because I want to hear a couple of compliments. What was it about? What did you think when you first saw me with your eyes?
Well, I think you were casual for going to this club. You weren't all glammed up.
Right.
And
which is very weird for me.
Yeah. And I mean, you look just so cute and like natural.
Wait, do I not look that way now? Because now I'm so much jewelry.
No, just it wasn't like you weren't all made up and to try to be like what the normal nightclub.
Wait, oh, okay. So you mean like the nightclub goer kind of look?
Right.
Okay.
And you just the energy you had and the smile and just loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
So you thought I like good smile, friendly.
Love at first sight. It was
really love at first
happen.
sight. You guys, I know this sounds really cheesy. Everyone wants to throw up in their mouths right now, but it really was. Like, I think when people say, do you believe in that? And it was strange because I'm actually walking with somebody I'm dating. And in my head, I literally remember saying, like, that's exactly my type. Like, I remember when I saw John, like, I really was like, if I was going to write it down, actually, there is a piece of paper. Yeah. Remember, my mom found that piece of paper. There is a piece of paper where I wrote, because you know how they say to manifest and to write things down? It was like in my old bags when we were moving. Remember, we found this piece, all my old photos. We found this piece of paper that actually had every single, what was it called? Adjective to describe like my perfect match. We got to find that piece of paper. When I say it describes John to a T, that's why it's so bizarre, because I had written that in my 20s. Like, I don't remember. And literally when we found it and read it, it was like the eye color, the hair color. It was everything that literally specifically John looked like and was like. So ladies, start writing your shit down. Point is, it was kind of love at first sight. So like, I do believe in that. I do believe that you can meet somebody and just the energy, and it wasn't like weird energy. It wasn't this like, well, maybe it was crazy passion for you. Was it, John?
No,
John?
No,
what?
It wasn't crazy. Well, once I learned the Cuban Latina fire in you, then that really sealed the deal.
Wait, why?
Yeah, what?
What? You just liked my Latino side?
Sí.
¿Tú querías hablar español?
Sí.
Okay. We'll try that later tonight. Anyway, you guys, that's for another time. Different kind of show. OnlyFans. We haven't started that yet.
No.
Listen, John, so give me, why hadn't you dated anybody? Like, just coming from a male perspective,
dated.
I think women want to know, like, what men are thinking. Like, what is it that was different about me? What is it, like, you're a good guy. You were going to business school. You had good education. You're smart. You had really good friends, honestly. You had a great group of friends, which I always say, I always admired, because I did like the people you hung out with, I think is important. Like, I think it always says something about you. I thought how you spoke to your parents, how you treated your parents, was just so sweet and kind and always super respectful. Like, those little qualities that you kind of notice that I think people don't give enough credit to. Yep. You know what I mean? Those are like, I remember recently at the airport, I'm just going to give this example because I thought it was interesting with the boys, the suitcase. Remember when the lady's suitcase fell off the side?
Yeah.
And it was late at night. We had just flown in. It was just a couple months ago. And this lady was trying to get off the curb. Her suitcase kind of fell over. And I literally just dropped what I was doing and I ran over to help her. And John then immediately came over too. And the boys were like, oh, that was nice. Like, you went to help her? And I was like, of course, if you can help somebody, you always help. And John literally looked at me and he gave me a smile and it was really sweet. And John's like, well, that's what I love about you. Because like, I went first. Like, he didn't even see it. I just dropped what I was doing immediately to go help. And John's like, that's something I love about you. And it's those little things that I think is what builds the foundation, right? And like what builds that character and that relationship to withstand everything that's thrown at you, right? So like for you, what were the qualities you were looking for? Because I think most women want to know, like, what are guys thinking?
Right.
So a nice guy, good education, good guy, has good friends. What are you thinking? Why aren't you settling down, or what is it that you're looking for?
Well, and I need someone who can hang out with my friends and gets along with them.
Was that something important to you?
Yes.
Because you're somebody who likes to be with your friends.
Yes.
Okay.
I've always had somebody growing up being a twin. So
right.
Always. Yeah. Always had somebody around. Has to be able to want to try new things. I mean, this is why we went skydiving on our 3rd anniversary.
Yeah, my father thought he was trying to kill me, everyone.
Yes.
He was. My dad's like, he's trying to kill you. I was like, Dad,
I would have
he's
killed you
jumping
before
to
then.
John's
Why
like,
wait till the 3rd?
I wouldn't have you strapped onto a professional if I wanted to kill you. I was dying. I was like, Dad, trust me, he's jumping too. He's like, this sounds very sketchy. Anyway, go ahead. No, we swim with sharks. Yeah. We both love adventure.
Doing new things, adventure, love to travel, and just like trying new things. Be able to laugh and joke and still just laugh at my sense of humor.
Yeah.
But then being caring, and your friends were amazing. Like, you had the best group of friends who you would do anything for. And you were always one where they would come in and you'd listen to their problems and you would be there for them no matter what. And that was just really, really good to see. I did meet your parents, and that
I can't breathe.
I mean, the first time we met
still dating me.
The first time we met your parents was definitely interesting when we went to Miami and stayed there for a week.
You guys, that was the first test.
Yeah. It was.
He should have gone
definitely
running
interesting.
for his fucking life.
No. But when you reflect back on that,
Yeah.
I think really understanding where people come from will help you understand as you move forward in life. Now with Teresa living with us, I understood some of the struggles and the things where you got things from. And some I could figure out early on, but
that's a good point.
others I learned later
hard
on.
way. If you saw his face, does anyone see a close-up of him?
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like 20 years of stress just hit him right in the face.
Yeah. You need to understand all those aspects because they will come out, the good and the bad of what your family, what you've
Put you
been
through,
around.
right? Yes.
And
what you witnessed at home.
right. And I think a lot of our struggles came from a lot of the things that were
Good point.
put on you as a child and that you grew up with. And we grew up very different.
How? Tell people. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good. Yeah. How do we grow up different? Because you guys, we are very, very different. We have very different upbringings. It's like city girl and country boy.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's-
Like kind of.
I mean, it is. It's The Notebook.
Oh, you guys.
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
know.
to, John, are you trying to make me cry?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah,
I love
look
you.
at-
I know. Okay.
I'm always doing things, fixing things. I have
True.
an engineering degree. I like pulling things apart, putting it together, trying to fix it,
He does.
changing light bulbs. And you and your family, your dad wasn't a handy guy. He'd have to call someone up to
Oh, yeah.
change the light bulbs and things. So
Literally.
that was very different.
You call downstairs.
but that's
we lived
just
in an apartment
like-
building. You call downstairs for everything.
Yeah, but that's in The Notebook. I mean, he built the house for her.
Babe,
At
you
some
build.
point,
I am
maybe will
expecting
be
you
able
to build the
you a
white
house.
house
Yeah.
with those black shutters on a huge. I'm not joking. I'm staring at
at
you,
some point.
guys. Everyone's
Okay, not
watching.
that
Is
handy.
everyone watching
Right.
and listening to this? He's promised me the Notebook house.
No, but you came from where you came from. You previously had a fiance. You grew up in a certain way.
Yes. You know, when they say, and we can joke about this now, but
Mm-hmm.
it's true. When we were getting married, a lot of our friends, obviously my friends knew how I was, his friends knew how he was, right? And there was a conversation. I think for him, people would warn him, like, she's used to a certain lifestyle, right? Are you going to be able to keep up with this bullshit?
she's-
Like, honestly,
Yeah, well,
right?
it's not like what was it with the Goldie Hawn movie Overboard, where she's
am-
going to remember here. As much as I tried for you to not remember that, it didn't work. So
You guys, I was Goldie Hawn. I did. I
you
came from
weren't
the
Goldie
yacht.
Hawn, unfortunately.
Wait,
Because
what?
you remembered what you had. You didn't forget everything, which
Exactly.
I think created some of the conflict. Because so going back to how I grew up in an island in the Detroit River, 10,000 people.
Yeah.
It was amazing, but we grew up on an acre and a half. I'd always work outside. My dad was very, very tough, and with my brother and I and my sister, but it was good learning experience and environment where we can go out in our boat in the backyard, go swimming,
Well, no, so
fishing.
you were more about what do you need? Not,
Yes,
it wasn't
it
your
was
parents were
definitely-
not buying you gifts as
No.
a Band-Aid to cover up
No.
anything,
No.
right? I mean,
It
it was
was-
very much a normal childhood, I would say.
And that came from how my dad was raised as an only child, older parents. Money wasn't that expansive for them.
Right, right.
So he wasn't always getting gifts, yet he could write you a check. His mentality in buying things was very, very different.
Right. Which is funny because my parents, they bought us gifts for everything. They bought me, they bought you, right? They would buy your love. Whereas John's parents,
work.
absolutely
Yeah.
not. Like they made him work. It was
Work in
everything
the
you
yard,
earn everything and you don't
cutting down
need things.
trees.
And
Yeah.
it was a very different. And listen, let me give it to them because John is somebody who is completely satisfied, completely content, does not need a lot, isn't yearning for things, isn't like
Now, yes.
no, but not in the same
I
way. No,
still
like
want more,
you
but yes.
want things,
but I'm content with
but
what
you're
I-
fine.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
I don't need a lot.
see, but I do need a little bit more than you. I feel like I have more needs than you.
I grew up hard work. Hard work pays off. It's that Midwest mentality.
See, but I do agree with you on that.
yeah.
That's something I really do agree and I really do admire. I always will admire the fact that you don't need to call anybody. You actually can fix it. You actually can do it. But then you get to a point where you do need to pay somebody because we want your attention too.
Yes.
Where a lot of the times it became now you're working so hard. Now you need a little time because that's like you're okay going outside and gardening. But I'm like, get the fucking gardener because like we want to spend time with you.
Right.
I'm fucking exhausted. I want you to be with the kids or I want you to help me because guess what? You don't get to garden anymore.
Yeah. And I think that's where you taught me a lot of the things that we learned that we need to break away from what we grew up with. Like, yes, not hiring someone and
For
doing
everything.
it yourself.
And I'm not saying not to hire somebody.
Well, and then, not.
I mean, I'm not saying,
I
I didn't say I wanted to. Let's be careful with that. Carla's not going anywhere.
Well.
Neither is Kayla or Violetta. Okay, you're going before any of them.
Uh-oh.
Just giving you a heads up. No, but for
Y'all
real.
hear that? Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean.
Being able to do things like when I said, I can change the tire, and it cost me a couple grand because I stripped the lug nuts. I'm like, I had AAA. I could have pulled out the card and had somebody do it. But my mind, I can fix things. And that's how I grew up.
And just how your dad, in
right.
your head, it's like, you just do it.
Yourself.
Why would you ever? Yes.
Right. And do the hard work. Where I learned from you, it's like, okay, no, actually there's a time and place. Just get people who are experts. And I don't have to fix everything, which is.
But this is part of like what we talk about, right? This is part about like where we're all doing roles and not necessarily doing things that's something you actually enjoy. Like gardening is something you enjoy. It takes your mind off of things. It distracts. Like you don't mind being in the yard. But yet I'm now taking that away from you because I'm like, there's no time for that. You don't get to go in the yard because you're working all the time and I need you to help with the fucking kids because I need a minute to myself over here. And now all of a sudden, everyone's not getting any time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like a little bit, we're all getting things taken away from each other that actually is so good for you. You should have an hour in the yard. That makes you feel good and that makes you like puts you in a good mood. Or if you want to go play golf or you go like that's again, those are things that we all should be doing for ourselves. Now it doesn't matter if it's a man, doesn't matter if it's the woman. We all should be having enough time and working together as teams. So everyone gets to enjoy a little bit. Because there was a time where I was the one going out to lunch every day or I was doing things. John was working 24/7. Like there is no way around it. John was not going to golf. He was not going out to dinner with friends. He was literally staring at his phone. There is like an entire trip to Italy that I think every single photo, John's staring at his phone. That's how hard he had to work and how much stress it was on him. He never really suffered from anxiety and things. And I think you started to feel some anxiety a little bit, like in moments, right? Like where you just feel like, breathe, right?
Yes.
Because you're not an anxiety, like I'm
No.
somebody who suffers from a lot of anxiety and John doesn't, which is so irritating. Because those of us that are anxious, to be around people who don't understand anxiety, you just look crazy. Right.
You do look crazy.
What? I really wasn't expecting you to like confirm
you
that,
have
but okay.
But learning about it too. And it's like menopause. Holy shit. Like menopause. Like, fuck.
Maybe we
the
need to
Hulk
bring
came
back-
out multiple times. I'm like, holy shit.
I told you guys.
And I'm glad
I told
it
you the
wasn't
whole.
me.
You guys, this is
But,
we
like-
need to do another one on just menopause. John discussing menopause. That's another one. Jackson, put it on the list. You guys, John discussing menopause. Holy shit. Okay.
Well, no, but I do think going back to how you grew up and how different it was, like you needed some things like your parents didn't give you, like going to your events and things where you
mean
became
attention.
super mom.
You mean attention.
Yeah. And you became super mom and you were super mom for everything. You were always with the kids, always doing things with them and at the events, at the schools. But I know it wasn't like your core of who you were, like for everything. Like you wanted to see them happy, but I think you overdid it. And I think that put you in a place.
Did you? It looked like I was overdoing
you
it,
were
right?
You were overdoing it, and you felt a little guilt. But that's
I felt a lot of guilt.
yeah, and
Because no one prepares you how you feel as a mom.
No.
That's something true. Like we would talk about it where John just felt differently. How John could rip the pacifier out and they could scream and cry and he'd be perfectly fine.
Heartless
where
son of a bitch.
He's a heartless son of a bitch. He pulled the he took the passy away. He took the bottle away. He's heartless. I was almost in a mental, I was hysterically crying. Okay. Like I couldn't handle 1 second.
No, she
But there is a difference in how we feel. And that's something that again, as men, and women will never understand that, right? Technically how each other feel. And there is this incredible amount of guilt as a mom that no one talks about and no one discusses, where men, guys, your husbands will never understand it. Will never understand it. So it is something that's hard that you have to be able to communicate. Because you do seem crazy. Did I seem crazy?
Moments, yes. There are moments where you're like, oh boy, for me to say, it's menopause or your period or this, it's like, it's hormones, but you have to go get them checked out. And what I loved is when you just told all your friends, once you figured it out, it's like you tell all your friends, go get your fucking hormones checked. Make sure, because it is not you and your husbands are going to hate you.
100%. I literally was like, I figured out
never...
why there's so much divorce. I remember I was like, I've solved the divorce issue single-handedly. I was like, I literally have solved divorce. It's menopause.
it's
menopause destroys all marriages because like you don't recognize yourself and people don't talk about it. And if you don't recognize yourself, your husband sure as fuck isn't.
right. And if you've never experienced yourself, you don't know what that's going. Like I've never had
because you didn't know what your mom was going through.
No.
Like did your mom did you have any idea when your mom was like stressed or this or that?
The traditional it's Midwest wife. She was at home. She was always at school helping and doing things. So I saw her all the time. She ran concession stand.
But was she happy? Like did you see her as happy?
I didn't think any otherwise. Yeah, I always saw her as, okay, it's mom, happy. Yeah, she was always smiling and happy. Smiling. And whether she really was or not, it's up
she
to her.
She put that face on, right?
Yeah, she always. I loved that she was there at school. And so I think as the kids, seeing you at school, like the impression that you're making on them, whether you wanted to be there for everything, but they love it. And I just know that's why I like being part of school. I love being there and going on the events and going away.
That was important to me. My parents were never at school. Like I know you had that experience and it was so good. Because I'm going to say to you, like, is it weird that your mom's there? For me, my parents didn't show up to a single thing. So it's so odd to me that I wanted to be there because I was like, yeah, I want to make sure my kid's protected. I want to make sure I know who the teachers are. Like I wanted to keep an eye, so for me, it was like, you need to be involved and I want to be there. But then I overdid it because then it was one of those things where I was now volunteering and doing things I didn't really like, right? Or being in charge of things that it wasn't really about the kids anymore. It was more about raising money or politics or the school, the parents. So if you don't like doing that, now it's like, I'm not seeing my kid anymore. Right. Now I'm on boards and things. And that's when John was like, okay, you've lost your mind.
Right.
And I was having like horrible anxiety. I think I was in the urgent care twice because I was so stressed. Yes. And you were like, why are you doing all of this? And what was it? Because remember, I would get frustrated when you would say to me, like, you're smart, you're capable, like you can do that. What was that for other women that maybe are feeling it or husbands that you can give advice? Because I'm sure there's a lot of women at home. Yeah, I'm wearing crop top. Just in case anybody wanted to know. I know, you're welcome. But really for women at home and men at home that are sitting at home and probably seeing their wives maybe not at their best selves, like, is there any advice or anything that you witnessed that you saw that was like just something that kind of, you were like, okay, something's off here?
Yeah, I think just from my work experience and working with teams and managing people, one of my core beliefs is one, you have to like what you're doing. And if you don't like what you're doing, you do it at probably a quarter of the speed rate, and you're just not happy and you're kind of forced to do it. And yes, there's things you're forced to do or you need to do just because you have those responsibilities. But the key is finding those things that you love to do because you put that energy and the motivation and you're happy doing it. You want to get up every day doing that. And if you're not happy doing certain things, then you're not going to be as motivated to go and do it. And it's going to come out and you can see it. You're like, oh, she's miserable. So I think for you, just seeing these things, like, oh, you have to find something that is you, authentically you, that you love to do. And it's looking at what you do normally and what your friends come to for. Because usually the people who are really good at something don't know what they're really good at. And
it's actually true. And, because I used to think, I would get defensive because I felt more like, honestly, I felt more like you were asking for help rather than complimenting me. And I think that was the headspace I was in. It was like, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to do it. And so you saying you're smart and capable was just like, I don't have time. Like, I have to be a good mom. Like, I got to do this. Like, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to have to put the effort in. And that is, there's a fear in that because it is about having to face, number one, you got to face hard work. And that's not something I grew up with, even though it's really funny because I am a hard worker.
You're a very hard worker.
Right? But isn't that surprising considering my background? Like, truthfully, I think people think I'm like fucking around.
When you love what you do, like the kids, I mean, they could be on video games for 12 hours a day. They have motivation to do something that they love, but then they don't want to do this other thing. So it's finding that thing that you love to do and putting all your passion into it. If that's how you can help others or help yourself or help your family, do it.
How did you notice I wasn't happy? Like, when did you start being like, okay, this, like, you just being a stay-at-home mom is not going to work?
Oh my gosh. I hear it every day and you feel it. You can feel the energy of when someone's happy or not. And yes, you are an actress and you can act.
I'm snorting now.
But you just feel it. You can sense it. And you can sense what you don't like doing because you want to get up and do it every day.
What do you see a real difference now? Genuinely, from like the mornings where I hadn't started anything yet to now.
Oh yeah. Yes. You look forward every day and to getting on. And I do think in some ways what you found is your therapy.
Yeah.
Of doing the coffee talks and helping others, because you were one who always had friends coming to you with their problems or things to talk about, and you
I'm like
always
a
gave
therapist,
time
you
to your
guys.
friends.
I love it. Like
Yeah,
I do.
you
I
love
just
it.
sit and talk and
that goes to your psychology background too.
right.
And
Like I love
what
it.
you had.
It's weird.
You love the acting. You love being authentic, and
I like real people. I do. I've always liked like the real, simple. I never liked bullshit ever. Right? Even though people would be like, oh, look at fancy pants, but it's funny, I'm not fancy.
No.
Like if you will think it, but yet I like really normal. Like I don't like the fancy shit. I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Do you mean like how do you explain
you
that,
like
John?
being you, and like fashion was one of your core things that you loved and always did, and always had clothes. Always, it's like, and it was always
Too many clothes.
Oh, yeah, the closet.
Let's not
size.
bring up the credit card bills. Okay.
No,
we won't talk about
we'll
that.
talk about that later. But
Okay.
that's or listen to your finance podcast.
Shit.
That's
Yeah, that's for another time. Anyway, go ahead. Stay on a good mood topic.
But your clothing, jewelry, you've always loved it, and you've always done high end, low end. You could never tell, and this was just. Ever since I knew
Everyone
you, the
thinks
20
I'm like
years.
lying. It's not.
No,
is it true?
Yeah,
like so true. I always have
you
done
could
this.
walk into a Marshall's and find gold there. And
Literally,
yet
you guys.
you have
It's like a
other people
special
who
skill.
go to Chanel or Dior and pick out and find things that you're like, I wouldn't spend anything on that, right? And so fashion is in the mind of the beholder and your personal fashion and what makes you feel good. And the jewelry, your dad always used to wear his chains. And
I do.
I remember his
arms,
his wrists had always bracelets. I'm like, what's that? What's that?
Here
I'm
you
like,
go, guys. The
and
jingle.
so, yeah, and so like what you've had has always been who you have, who you
I
are,
am, yeah.
and you've now allowed it to be yourself. You found your happy tools, and I think that is what's so good.
Well, I think what's interesting when you're saying that, actually, what just hit me, what's actually really interesting is that I did stop doing those things. And I think, I don't know if it's because I'm a mom, or I thought because I'm a mom, or because I'm married, or because I have elderly parents, or because my kids are at school, or because I want to be a good mom, it means you're supposed to look a certain way, act a certain way, and do certain things. Because there is something that like, now I wear all my jewels and I'm like, I don't care, just because I'm going to pickup, I can still wear all my fucking jewels. Like, I can still look gorgeous at pickup. Why not? Like, why do I have to look like shit? Like, it was kind of like you somehow become a mom or a wife, and it's like pieces of you get kind of picked at. You know what I mean? It's like people start to kind of chip away at you. I don't know if it's society. I don't know if it's like expectations. I don't know if it's just like because you're watching everybody. I don't know what it is, but things chip away at you. And now I'm like back to wearing what I love, all my jewels, like doing, and it's like I feel like me again.
Yeah.
Because I had kind of stopped being authentically me. I was filling everyone else's roles, but I forgot about the role of Caroline.
Yeah.
Which is the most important fucking role.
Well, and I think that's what I've even learned over this whole process.
That Caroline is the most important role. I'm just kidding. I'm just making sure that's the lesson you learned.
Well, no, at times, right? And we all play a primary or supportive role, and it changes. It's depending on what your job is. Like in my job now, and I have to take care of certain things, and I'm helping more with the kids. And
do you like it, John? Like now with this role, like when I want to just touch base because I think a lot, just really quick, because you're talking about roles. When we're talking about, because I think right now, as we're witnessing, we have a lot of friends now that the women all have incredible careers, right? We do. It's like things have switched where it was really more like the moms were all at home, husbands all worked. Now it's funny, we have a lot of friends that the wives all kind of work or have big careers, husbands too, but in a different way, more creative ways, or their husband and wife teams, or it's been really interesting. And I think the role reversal is really just an important topic, just if you could shed some light from your end, because I think for me, when I was a little girl, this is not what I was told or expected that would ever make me happy, being able to be, whether it's head of household, and in the sense of, I never thought I'd be making the money, even though it's all happening and help propel that to another level. But again, just that role, you know what I mean? That role of taking over, like you're bringing home the paycheck, like you're home with the kids. It was actually such an incredible change for me. How did you take it? How did you feel when your whole team was let go? What was that moment? Because I think that's a really important moment for a lot of men that I think are losing jobs or losing positions. The workforce is changing. I think roles are changing. A lot of women are coming back to life. I think women are starting to like you know what I mean? Come in hot. And I think men are changing. And what do you see as that really quick as just a final, I just want to make sure we get your perspective on that.
Yes. I think you have to know what you love to do and what you're good at. And I'm one who doesn't speak up as much. I don't advocate for myself, I don't think, as much as I could in my career and things. And I grew up learning, it's again, the traditional Midwest where the husband makes the money and the wife
work hard.
Work hard, and things will come to you. And you were playing the mom role, supportive role. But I like doing things and like cleaning, and I do like doing the dishes. Yes, I do like doing the dishes and laundry.
Ladies?
And I don't mind that.
See, when they tell you they don't know how, it's because they're just fucking with you. You're the idiot doing it. They do know how. They know how. Your ego's too big, and you're allowing them to make you think that they don't know how, but they know how.
Yeah, and so I enjoy doing that. I like taking the boys to school, making lunches and things, and being there. And what was great is, fortunately for me, they had a mass layoff where I was working, and I had an opportunity to work with you and I came from the marketing, advertising, data world.
Did you feel like that day though, were you panicked that I was going to freak out, or that it was like, what were you feeling like, shit, was it a horrible day that day, or did you feel like, no, it's going to be okay, Caroline's working?
No,
like, honestly.
It was going to be okay. We're going to figure it out.
Okay.
And we'll make it happen, and we'll find what's going to be the best opportunity for us and the family. And it gave me an opportunity to actually focus. I liked startups. I liked doing things, the technology and aspect of it, and marketing, and really giving you the support that you needed to be who you are and do the things. And what we find is, one, you got to learn what I do in my job, or what I've done.
He was Chandler for 18 years
or
to me.
They thought I worked for the FBI.
Yeah, it was FBI or Chandler. We had no idea what John did.
Yeah, and I was able to help you in ways of things that I know necessarily didn't like to do.
Like all the business.
Right. You were a master at being able to be authentic and in front of the camera and share. And it is, we can get to our arguments where it's very hard to argue with you.
There'll be a part 2 with John because it's just too long. There's too much to discuss.
But you are so good at that. It's just, yes, the technical aspect, if you could get help. And that's where I'm like, I know how I can do it, and I can help. And we actually were both be able to do the things that we loved to help you and us overall as a family, and with your friends and all this. And I'm like, this is excellent. So putting the effort in there, we're both hard workers. Yes, I take care of the kids more and do the things that I love to do. And for those things that we both don't like to do, because we're both awful planners and things, we get help. And Kayla is a blessing, and Violetta.
You need help, guys. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. And I think communication. Yeah. Because I think in a marriage without communication, I don't care how in love you are, after 18 years, trust me, life throws you a lot of curveballs. And without being able to have real, honest conversations, even when you're hearing things you really don't want to hear, or hearing things about you that can hurt because they're true and it's brutal to hear sometimes, you have to be able to have those conversations, because I think communication is key to a happy marriage. Yeah. Because it really is a friendship and respect that lasts, don't you think?
The respect. Yeah, you always have to have respect. The moment that goes out the door, then it's
hard to get it back. Right.
So you always have to be respectful.
And then for any final tips for men who maybe have a wife sitting at home who has a lot of potential, or just seems a little bit off, maybe not rock bottom, but maybe just not happy. Any advice that you could give husbands to kind of help support their wives? Or any advice to husbands that are maybe sitting at home saying, I fucking hate this job. My wife, I want to switch shit up.
One, for your wives, you'll recognize what she's good at and what she loves, what lights her up, because you see it. And it is amazing when you see that, and it can bring tears to your eyes. But it's once you find it, letting her go for it and giving them the opportunity to do that and the support to do it. And I think that was one of the key things for me is, if you love it, it's like, it's going to make us all happier, right? Because you're happy. But sometimes she won't even recognize
men.
And sometimes, yes, she won't recognize what she's good at. So being there, supportive, and say, hey, I just want you to be happy. But it is more, why don't you try something like this? And giving them options.
And trust me, it's hard, guys. We're not going to sit here online and say we don't fight. We don't have hard days, hard months, hard years. Yes, like life is hard. Marriage is hard. It's long, but it doesn't mean it has to be unhappy. And it's just like our point really is now about choosing happy. That is something that I was talking about, that we made an actual decision, the two of us together, to say that whatever situation we're in, whatever problem we're having, that we want to look at it through the perspective of happiness. So we always say that whatever situation we're in, just choose happy, get over it, like move on, let's go. Like it's not worth it. Life is too short. So we just want to remind you, you always have that choice, and that marriage is just like friendship, and it's just like work. You have to work at it. It is work, and you've got to communicate. And nothing is easy, but if you want it bad enough, you probably will try harder for it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's always worth it. And I could not do any of this without him. And I feel very lucky because it always, listen, to be able to be 20 years in and still feel like I literally can't imagine myself with anyone else sitting on a porch one day, holding hands in a rocking chair, looking at all our grandkids, thinking about the incredible memories in life we had and we shared. It's all I can imagine. And I never, after experiencing my parents who were so unhappy, I just want to say and remind you always that you can find happy, and that there are happy situations, happy marriages, happy homes, happy kids. It is out there, and you just have to work for it. You've got to know what it is that you want, know your worth, and then just don't take anything less. Right, John?
Right.
So first love is out there, respect, communication, and wanting to see each other win. Right?
Yes.
Okay, love you, boo. Thanks for coming on. We're going to have to come on and talk about credit card bills one day.
Oh, yes.
Just so we can scare the shit out of all the women. All right, bye, everybody. We love you so much. This is my hubby, John. You can see him often on social media because he's my little cutie pie. Anyway, thanks, you guys, for joining us. We always want you walking away feeling good and feeling inspired and motivated. And I just want to say I'm super grateful for you being here. So thank you. We're here every Monday, and we're going to be coming hot next week with another hot topic. So please follow, subscribe, like, everything you do for everyone else. Please do for me too, in a positive light. See you next week. Adios. I love you. Mwah.